We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
All right, Jared, how are you doing today?
No complaints, no complaints, no complaints. Kyle, how'd you feel about this week's college football lineup outside of Ohio State?
Not much chaos. Not much chaos. Well, there was some chaos.
You had 2 top 10 losses, an additional top 20 loss.
A couple of them.
Yeah, a couple of them.
We have a few of them. So let's go ahead. Let's go and talk about
3.
them.
3 as a matter of fact. 3 in the top 20. Well, 5 in the top 20, but then 2 of those being in the top 10. That's a good amount of chaos.
All right, let's jump into the first one then, Jared. Notre Dame getting their key signature win of the year? Question mark? Yes. Beating Syracuse 41-24.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Am I right? Like, which Notre Dame's going to show up? I don't know. They're 5-3 now, which is somewhat respectable considering they lost to Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Are they?
And that helps. That helps Ohio State. It ultimately doesn't matter, but that with Notre Dame beating Syracuse here, it really helps out Ohio State's strength of schedule, which they're now of the top 5 teams: Ohio State, Georgia, Tennessee, Michigan, Alabama. They have the toughest or the best strength of schedule of those teams.
Interesting. No one will believe it though, because they're not in the SEC and blah, blah, blah.
Of course not. It doesn't fit their narrative.
Yes.
All right. Let's see here. TCU coming back to beat West Virginia 41-31.
Yeah, this is it fair to say comeback? For what it's worth, Notre Dame is ranked 30th by the AP. Yeah, this one is probably closer than you'd want it to be if you were, I don't know, Austin, TCU fanboy. I think TCU is fine. This is not a good performance, beating a pretty bad WVU team by 10 points. But whatever. They just came off a big win against Kansas State. Their defense is obviously suspect. That's just how I guess things are in the Big 12. And yes, a horned frog will in fact shoot blood out of its eye. That is a thing that happens. But yeah, it's their defense is suspect. Could they get into the playoffs? Maybe. I think it's possible. It just sort of depends upon the chaos that happens in front of them, but I think it's entirely possible. Yep. If they win out, they're in. I agree, Austin.
Yep.
With a defense this bad, with a defense this inconsistent at the very least, it's hard for me to see them winning out.
I agree.
And no, Austin, they won't win a game in the playoff. I totally get that.
Yeah. All right. Georgia defeating Florida 42-20 in their last neutral site rivalry game.
Is this the last one in Jacksonville?
I think so.
Okay. Well, that's not true, he says. Austin.
I thought it was. Or is it in 20? Oh, it's guaranteed in next year. Okay.
So it might not be neutral in 2024, is what Austin is saying.
All right. Yeah, Georgia just doing Georgia things here. I mean, what more can you say here? They're one of the best teams here, and they just no issues handling Florida here. Florida made a run there and made it close, but Georgia
fell asleep
with their talent. Yeah.
Georgia fell asleep. They got some really nice bounces early in the game. They had, a crazy touchdown to their tight end where the ball was batted several times. They got a little complacent Florida worked their way back into the game. It looked like it was going to be a game again, and then Georgia remembered how to play football, and they shut that down.
Wake Forest forgot how to play football. They lose to Louisville 48-21.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. We saw 2 top 10 teams get bludgeoned this week. Absolutely. Apparently Gangland made a new role called Frog Sympathizer. Isn't there a Y in the word sympathizer somewhere?
There is.
Okay. You might want to give that one a second look, Gangland.
All right.
Oh, you purposely made it simp.
Back to here, Jared.
Gotcha.
Wake Forest. This is their second loss here, and yeah, it's
the devastating loss.
It's devastating. Yeah.
Did Louisville get ranked because of this?
Clemson right now. What's that, Jared?
Did Louisville get ranked because of this game? They're 5-3 and they just slaughtered Wake. I'm just curious. No, they didn't. No AP love.
No AP love. Nope. No AP love.
Okay. But yeah, Wake. If Wake had any hope of still being in it, that hope's now gone. Clemson's going to roll into the ACC championship game.
Yeah. Oof. Speaking of just devastation,
they literally got one AP vote for 25th place. Well, there you go.
Oklahoma State.
Good God.
Oklahoma State dropped a bomb. Didn't score a single point, losing to Kansas State 48-0.
Wow.
I did not see this coming.
If you predicted a shutout in a Big 12 game, I'd call you crazy. So no one saw this coming.
Oof.
Yeah, it's total devastation for Oklahoma State. They pick up their second loss in the worst possible way. We appear to be, if you're a Big 12 fan anyway, we're all in on one team now. It's all TCU. Between TCU beating Kansas State last week and Kansas State beating Oklahoma State this week, that's it. You're all in on the Horned Frogs at this point if you're a Big 12 booster. Oklahoma State
rushed the ball for 54 yards. 1.8 yards per carry in this game. Not good. Not good, Jared.
Oklahoma State dropped to 18th in the AP, goes to show how close teams 8 through 25 are this year. It would be hard for me to rank them 18th after losing 48-0. But
I agree.
They're also it just comes down to who else, because there's just not 18th is too high for sure. And I agree with you, Austin, but it's like, but who else? You know what I mean? Like, who the hell else do you rank up there at this point?
You know who you rank ahead of them? Illinois. You rank Illinois ahead of them as they beat Nebraska 26-9. Illinois 7-1. Speaking of teams that were like just surprised to see how they're doing this year, Illinois 7-1. Huh? About those? How about the Fighting Burts there, Jared?
The Illini. Remember a couple weeks ago when I said Illinois would be ranked 7th when they faced Michigan? Not looking too far-fetched now. 7th still seems high.
They're currently 14th in the AP.
7th still feels high, if I'm being honest. But maybe we're looking for an upset in that game. That would be fun.
Yeah, Illinois they're just winning games here, and they're, I don't know, it's not that impressive of a team. I mean, when you look at their wins here, they beat Iowa 9-6.
They're
They
not
beat a
blowing
pretty-
teams out, that's for
they-
sure.
Yeah, they beat a depleted Minnesota team 26-14, and a Nebraska team that just has no identity at all in here. Yeah,
But how did they lose to Indiana?
How did they early in the year until they found out how to win games? I guess.
My God. How did they lose to Indiana?
They lost at the end of the game, if you remember.
How do you make it a possibility that you would need the last play to matter against Indiana? How do you even leave it that close?
They what was it here?
Was it a bunch of turnovers?
Yeah,
I don't
they
remember.
They had 4 turnovers in that game.
To how many? I know it was week 1.
4-2.
-2 is not totally insurmountable, statistically speaking. They played week 0, but that was week 1. Yeah. It just feels like forever ago at this point.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Oregon defeats Cal 42-24. Oregon keeps winning. They keep doing their thing here.
Yeah, and all right, question. Let's say TCU loses a game. But they still go to the Big 12 championship game and they win the Big 12 championship.
Okay.
Let's say Oregon wins the Pac-12 championship.
Okay.
And let's say there's one spot left. Who are you giving it to?
How does TCU lose?
That's we'll say a close one within a score. Within a score.
Man, like my gut feeling would be that TCU should get in based on their schedule and who they've beaten. But I mean, Oregon's got that name. It's got that name brand right now. And then you're going to look at the end of the regular season here, where Oregon gets to play 2, maybe 3 ranked teams, and TCU the rest of the year will be playing maybe 1.
Austin says Oregon needs to be the only one-loss team in the conversation to get in. I don't disagree with him. They got embarrassed. They got utterly embarrassed by Georgia. Utterly embarrassed.
And it goes back to, like, if you're going to lose, you want to lose that early on, and especially
not that bad. But not that bad.
But part of me is like Oregon should not get in because of how bad they lost to a team that's going to be in the playoffs. And so it's like, is this what you want to see? Is a team that gets demolished from the first round in the semifinals? There, is that what you want to see?
Clemson, SEC champ, Big Ten champ, all getting in.
My answer is no, because I mean, it's the same thing Ohio State happened. Ohio State lost 1 game, and they didn't get in because they got
slaughtered.
They got beat. They got beat to Purdue handily, and that's all you kept hearing about. Is like, oh, well, Ohio State lost. They lost by a lot to Purdue. No, we can't put them in because they lost to Purdue by a lot. What's the difference with Oregon here, other than maybe
the point? That's the point Austin and I are making. That's the point.
In my opinion, if TCU, let's just say TCU loses to Texas, they lose to Texas by 3 points. They go on to win all the other games, and then they win also their conference championship game too. I think you put TCU in over Oregon.
Yeah.
All right. Let's finish these games up, and then we'll get to our actual rankings here, Jared.
Okay.
Cincinnati gets their second loss. I think it's their second or third. I forget. But either way, they lose to UCF 25-21.
Yep. This was I think it's impressive. I think it's incredibly impressive that Cincinnati, in a year that is an off year for them, considering the talent they lost last year, that they're 6-2 and made their way into the rankings, lost, made their way back into the rankings. In a year that really should be a down year for Cincinnati, I think they're playing excellently. They're meeting the low expectations I had for them. They're exceeding the low expectations I had for them.
Low expectations also is Missouri. Missouri is a terrible team, but they beat don't know why they were ranked. Well, I mean, I know why they were ranked, but a ranked South Carolina team that's no longer ranked at 23-10.
Move forward. I don't care.
Okay. Tennessee absolutely demolishes Kentucky 44-6.
It's a big win for Tennessee.
This is just like the Kansas State, Oklahoma State here. Well, not really, because Kentucky should never have been ranked anyway, but either way.
I disagree. There's some terrible teams in that 25-15 area. It's the exact same conversation we just had with Oklahoma State and only falling to 18th. Do they deserve to be there? No, but who do you actually put in front of them? By the way, Austin's asked you a question. Do you see this?
Can you tell me who the highest group of 5 team is in the AP for 50 Sloop Bucks? Can I tell you that they are the Flames of Liberty?
Oh, you totally looked that up. Oh, no, apparently not. Austin says you're incorrect. Fucking Tulane, he says.
Fucking Tulane. All right, moving on. USC. Oh, a lot of people have high expectations from USC, but man, their defense is just
they're Oklahoma.
Garbage recently. Yeah.
They're Oklahoma.
Yes, they beat Arizona 45-37.
They're Oklahoma. They moved out west and they added some yellow to the uniform, but they're Oklahoma. It's just another Lincoln Riley Oklahoma team with yellow trim. I don't know what else you want.
All right. Michigan finally beats Michigan State after 3 years, 29-7.
Were they on a 3-year losing streak? That's not right, is it?
Michigan State. This is the first time winning in 3 years, so they lost the previous 2 years.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't believe they played in 2020. Austin says.
Oh, they did. I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay. Harbaugh didn't duck that one.
Nope, Harbaugh did not duck that one.
Yeah, most of the notable takeaways from this game, one, like, you know, there were some Michigan fans being like, "Oh, you struggled against Penn State and we dominated them," and then turned around and Ohio State fans were like, "Oh yeah, well we destroyed Michigan State and you struggled against them."
Don't be hiding in that glass house now.
Yeah. Most of the action in this game took place in the tunnel after the game, but we'll leave that conversation to a different podcast because I have no interest. The tunnel. Yes, the tunnel system is flawed. Yes, Michigan should fix that. That also doesn't excuse anything. Yes, there are some Michigan players.
Yeah, that doesn't excuse what both of these teams did.
It doesn't excuse the actions of the Michigan players who were causing shit in the trouble, and the causing shit in the tunnel, and it also
It's nothing new. It's nothing new.
Extraordinarily doesn't justify the reaction from the Michigan State players either.
No.
It's a mess. They won't fix it. They only need to like procedurally fix it. Have you ever seen when at Ohio Stadium, when it happens more than twice and happens more than once in 2 weeks, it's a pattern. Yeah. I thought we weren't going to talk about it. Well,
yeah, we're moving on. Ole Miss defeats Texas A&M 31-28.
Yeah, I'm Kyle.
Jared,
two in a row choosing chaos for me. This is 2 in a row
Jared,
now.
How high was Texas A&M ranked earlier?
They were like 7th or 8th. Then they fell to 15th. And where are they now, Austin? I hope Ole Miss loses again because I can't bear to hear the 4 seam as.
God damn,
this is their second loss. They
jumped up 4 spots for beating a 3-5 Texas A&M spot team by 3
Ole Miss
points.
is 11. Okay. Yeah, and they moved up whatever. Like do you think they beat Bama?
No, of course not. No.
Oh, Texas A&M not ranked in the top 41, by the way. I really thought Texas A&M was going to win this game. I had it as my choose my chaos, and I thought I had 2 in a row. Didn't quite play out that way, unfortunately for me. You don't think Ole Miss has a chance against Bama?
What's that gif? You had me in the first half.
Yeah.
That's what that would be. Yeah, exactly. Ole Miss has no defense. Yeah.
Neither does Alabama.
All right. UNC defeats Pitt 42-24.
USC certainly doesn't.
This was my chaos game here, but didn't quite pan out. It looked like Pitt had UNC in the first half, but that was it.
Yeah,
UNC quietly.
Yeah,
quietly with a 7-1 record here.
Yeah, they've quietly moved their way back into the top 25. But Boston just says they're now 17th. And their quarterback's having a hell of a year too.
But their biggest win,
he's putting up some crazy numbers.
Was here, Jared. Their biggest win was here against Pitt, because their previous wins against, remember that fun Appy State 63-61 game?
Yeah.
Is it Virginia Tech? Is it Miami? Is it Duke? Or is it Pitt as their best win here?
They're certainly the okay, but who did you beat aspect to it.
Yep.
But they're perfect in conference. Are they because their one loss is to Notre Dame. They're in the other thank you, Austin. Austin already knew where I was going with that. They are on the opposite side, Jared, yes. He knows I can't tell the difference between the Coastal and the Atlantic to save my life. So appreciates Austin. So the real question is, can North Carolina? I only know because I'm staring at it, to be fair. Yeah. No one, I feel like ACC fans don't know the difference between the Athletic, the Atlantic, and the Coastal. All right. Question. Can North Carolina win out, beat Clemson, get into the playoffs?
Yes, no, no.
Well, if they don't beat Clemson, then they don't win out. So I think that would be no, no, no.
Or they win out. No, you said, can they win out, beat Clemson?
Beating Clemson is winning out.
Oh, okay. whatever.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
and the
fine.
last game here, UCLA defeats Stanford 38-13. Something USC could not do. Was it USC? No, I was thinking of somebody else who lost to Stanford. Oh, that was Notre Dame. Never
That was
mind.
Notre Dame, yeah.
That was Notre Dame. UCLA 38, Stanford 13.
UCLA's trying to work their way back up.
Yep, they're 10th now.
Yeah,
They are 10th.
there's some contenders in the Pac-12 right now, all of them with one loss, but
Well,
they're positioning themselves.
Well, let's talk about that then, Jared. Let's bring up our graph then and give our tier list here for week 9.
Do that. And once again, it is totally off center.
Yeah, look at that elite division. Yeah, it kind of looks like the Big Ten West, if I'm being honest, Austin.
All right, first question. Georgia kind of slaughtered Florida in a week in which Ohio State didn't look great. Do we have a conversation about who should be number 1? Or for that matter, Tennessee? I mean, Georgia and Tennessee will play each other this week, so it's a.
I think from what we've seen the past, I think let's just move Tennessee up to 1 and just slide Ohio State and Georgia down.
Tennessee to 1. So you want Georgia at 3 and Ohio State at 1?
At 2.
Or yeah.
Yep, just
2,
like
excuse me.
Just like that.
Okay.
And Michigan can stay where they're at. Clemson can stay where they're at.
I agree.
They didn't play. Alabama didn't play. They stay where they're at.
I agree.
And Oklahoma State, this is their second loss.
Yeah.
They go down. Yep. No, not even to. I'm
getting votes for M tier, which, by the way, they pick up their second loss 48-0. This might be exactly what M tier is for. I think this might be exactly what M tier is for.
All right. So who else can go up there? Man, I do not feel comfortable putting Oregon in A tier because of what happened in week 1. I can't.
I agree.
I can't put them there.
I agree. Oregon can stay down there.
Wake Forest with their second loss. You can put them away there. USC wins. I don't think Utah did play like a weekday game. So they go stay in the B tier. Penn State with their second loss. Illinois State, Penn State goes down. Illinois stays where they're at. UCLA stays where they're at. Ole Miss stays where they're at, and Syracuse goes down. All right, let's look at some of the other teams. Let's look at some of the other teams if they can move up to the B tier here.
No, PSU is B tier.
Yeah.
I don't. They played well. They didn't look bad against. I mean, they lost to who we think is the second best team in the country. Performed well while doing it. It's only their second loss. I think well-positioned 2-loss teams are kind of what B tier is for.
Okay, here's the difference between Utah and Penn State. Utah's losses were close. Penn State's were not. What's Penn State's best win? What is Penn State like?
But their losses are to our number 2 and our number 5.
Mm-hmm. Penn State, okay. But still, what is Penn State? I don't care. I mean, yeah, who they lost to, I guess, kind of matters. But who did they beat? Who did they beat? Okay, they went on the road to Auburn and demolished them because it's tough play. It's tough going on the road in an SEC. So maybe you can give them that one. But
No.
Auburn's not good. So then their best win is Northwestern, Minnesota. No. Now you look at Utah. Oh, they have a win over USC. Yeah, it's that alone right there.
Now do UCLA.
All right, UCLA has one loss. They lost to Oregon. They beat Washington. They beat Utah. Yeah, UCLA belongs right there.
Now do Illinois.
Illinois is there because they only have one loss, which is the reason why you need to move UNC up to the B tier.
We do need to move UNC up. We do need to move UNC up.
But Penn State needs to go down. They're not a B tier.
All right.
You lost your second game until you prove that you can be a top. Beat a team in the top 25. Beat a team in the top 25, which you're not going to.
I think the point, Austin, is that yes, Penn State lost to two good teams, but they got completely blown out by one of them. And they played well against Ohio State for 3 quarters. But
no,
then
it's not my home state. I'm just saying that UNC has one loss. They're in the driver's seat to potentially win their conference, their conference championship game there. They're in their driver's seat. So that alone puts them in the B tier.
I agree.
Just like Illinois, they're in the driver's seat to win their division, to get a chance to play for the Big Ten title. They deserve to be right there in the B tier.
I agree with Kyle. If you're in like pretty clear first place in your division and you only have one loss, I think that qualifies you as a B tier team, even though, and the points you guys are making in the chat are absolutely valid, that they haven't beat anybody. I agree. I agree with you guys. If they had beat someone, they'd probably be in A tier, but they haven't. Not all divisions are equal. 100%. I agree. Again, they're in B tier, not A tier. I don't think the bar for B tier is all that high, which is why I was fighting to keep Penn State up there, but I let Kyle win that argument. I personally would have Penn State in B tier still. Yeah, I just said Austin.
All right.
I agree with you, Austin. I can't answer that question. If Kyle wants to answer that question, Kyle can answer that question.
Here's a question. Is there anybody that's worth going up to A tier though?
No.
Yeah. That's the answer. No. Oregon, no. USC, they're I'd say no. Utah has 2 losses, so B tier is as high as Utah can go. Illinois, no. UCLA, no. Ole Miss, no. UNC, no.
We'll talk about Ole Miss once. If they beat Bama, we can talk. Can we talk about LSU to B tier? I think we can at least have that conversation. I'm not against the conversation. They started off the season terribly, but they've become a good team. And
have they? Well, okay. Their last game, yes. So beginning of the season, they beat Southern, Mississippi State, New Mexico, barely beat a terrible Auburn team, and then got slaughtered by Tennessee. Absolutely slaughtered by Tennessee.
Yep.
I agree. Beat Florida, then had the convincingly win, significant win over Ole Miss. So you got one really good win here. I'm not ready to put LSU in B tier yet. Maybe they can stay to that left side. Be like, all right, maybe they can go in the B tier. Maybe they can go in the B tier here, but coming up. But I mean, they play Alabama next. They play Alabama this weekend here. You win, yeah. They go up to B tier there. So as of right now, I say no to moving them up.
How many losses?
They have 2.
I think that's fair. We already have them. We already have them over here.
Give me some good wins as a 2-loss team. Give me some good wins, and you can go up to the B tier.
How many? Hold on. To be fair,
you can go up.
To be fair, how many teams in the B tier currently have a better win than beating Ole Miss? Now they have 2 losses, so I understand that changes the conversation. But the fact of the matter is that there aren't a lot of teams currently in B tier who have a better win than LSU's win over Ole Miss.
I mean that's fair, but
again, they have 2 losses, so the conversation's different. I acknowledge that.
Utah,
which is
Utah has the better win.
Yeah. And Utah also has 2 losses, which is the conversation we're having. Why does everyone in B tier have 1 loss except for Utah? Because they have a great win. That's our precedent right now, is it not?
I'm not feeling putting LSU up there, but what does chat say? What does our chat say?
All right, chat. Yay or nay? We'll let you guys do this one. Yay or nay? LSU to B tier.
Are you fine with giving the SEC biased up to the B tier?
If they win, well, yeah. If they win, absolutely, they move up to B tier. 100%, they move up to B tier.
All right, they're with me, Jared. Wait to see what they do this weekend. So
that's fair.
They're right there on the cusp. All right. So I think this is probably it here. I did see somebody mention, should Notre Dame get moved out of M tier?
They lost to Marshall.
Yeah, they did.
Marshall. Okay, Kyle, are we fine leaving A? Okay, so let me just reset, because just for the audio people, our S tier, which we always have, is 4 teams. S tier is always 4 teams. That's the rule. Tennessee 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, TCU 4. Our A tier, which we can be pretty flexible on how many teams are in A tier. I think Kyle and I said anywhere from like 2 to 8. Currently sits at 3 teams: Michigan, Clemson, Alabama. So the only team there with a loss being Alabama. Our B tier is Oregon, USC, Utah, Illinois, UCLA, Ole Miss, and North Carolina.
Yeah, there's no other team to move to A tier. Yeah.
That's the question. That's the question I'm asking. UNC in B feels wrong, so wrong.
I mean, at this point, this is the rest of the 1-loss teams.
Austin, I understand where you're coming from, but what I'm seeing in North Carolina is a 1-loss team who's currently undefeated in their conference and is likely to face Clemson at this point in the ACC championship game. All of those factors put together leads me to feel okay putting them in B tier. I acknowledge that it's close. I also acknowledge that LSU would probably destroy them if they played on a neutral field. I also acknowledge that. Mm-hmm. Can we add Tulane to the chart next week? If you remind me before we start recording, because I don't feel like finding Tulane in my file, and Liberty, to be honest, maybe. But yeah, we can look into it. Oh, can I do this quickly? Can I do this quickly? Can I do a copy, paste? Oh, Kyle, you didn't get the one with no background.
I thought this didn't have a background. I thought these did not have a background, but
I mean, he has a background, but we'll use it for now. We'll use it for now. When I open this next week and I see there's one of them with a background, I'll get pissed off, and I'll fix it then. Copy image. I don't know why that's happening, but here we go. And we can just what do we want? I'm just over here on the far end of C.
Sure.
We'll fix it later.
All right. This is our rankings here for week 9.
These are our rankings. Real quick, as some cleanup, do we still want Cincinnati over in the batter's box?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Do we still want Kentucky in the batter's box?
No.
Wake Forest. Texas didn't play this week, right? So no change there.
Wake Forest, no.
Well, I mean, that was just Wake Forest's second loss. We just bumped them out of A tier.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Penn State, we just moved there. We just added Tulane. We just added Liberty. Mississippi State didn't play. Kansas State. Can we have a conversation about Kansas State in B tier? Who is their other loss, Jared? I don't remember.
TCU. Go ahead and tell me. It's a team that you just added in here that I gave you, Jared. Tulane.
Okay, but we just added Tulane to the chart.
Yeah, so keep Kansas State where they're at.
Fair. Totally fair. You know, they just beat a team 48-0. I feel like it at least deserved a conversation. They beat a top 10 team 48-0. I think it deserved at least a conversation.
Yeah.
And by the way,
we had the conversation and we're done.
And by the way, looked really good against TCU. A game that they ultimately lost, but they looked good in that game.
They did. I mean, they are. I guess they're kind of in the driver's seat right now. They're second in the Big 12 right now. They're right there in the hunt to play in the Big 12 championship game. Stop it.
So Kansas State B tier.
I think like what we said with LSU. Let's wait to see what they do against Texas this week.
Is Texas now the watermark in the Big 12?
No.
If they beat Texas, they can go to B. It feels very arbitrary, if I'm being honest, Austin. It feels very arbitrary. Why? Yeah. Why is Texas the? I'm just saying they just beat number 9 Oklahoma State 48-0. Everyone's against me on this. But I feel like Kansas State in B tier is a conversation that
it's just like LSU. They got the one really good win here, and it's like, hey, yeah, you're right there on the cusp. Let's see how you do next week, and maybe you'll get over that. You win, and you go in. You go up to the B tier.
Okay,
that's the conversation.
I feel like if we had this conversation last week, we would have said, well, if they beat Oklahoma State, we can move them into
Austin.
B tier.
No, Austin. If Penn State isn't B, neither is Kansas State. Kansas State at least beat a top 25 team.
Yeah, they won their top 10 matchup, Austin. Kansas State won their top 10 matchup. That would be the difference. Yeah, but Penn State wasn't close, and Kansas State won.
Yeah, I like this this tier list, Jared, and it is week 9, not week 8, by the way. Yeah,
why do you wait until the 45th minute?
This is the 4th time I've said it. Go back and listen again. This is the 4th time I've said it. See, Austin says.
How did I not hear you once? How did I not hear you once? Good God.
Right,
I just switched to new ADHD meds and maybe they're not working. Okay. Right. Everyone pretend that said 9 the entire time.
Right, let's see what week 10 has for us, Jared. Let's see if there's some interest.
I was too caught up defending TCU or Kansas State rather.
All right. Let's see here. We got the battle of we got a battle of the waves. We got Tulane Green Waves versus Tulsa and the Golden Hurricane for this week, Jared.
Yeah, it's a big week. Big week coming up for sure. Everyone make sure to tune into Sloop Picks. And that's right. We have Tuesday night action starting.
It is Tuesday. Yes, we got Ball State, Kent State, and Buffalo and Ohio. And then on Wednesday, we got some more action. Central Michigan, Northern Illinois, and Western Michigan in Bowling Green.
I honestly forgot we had a action emote until Zach just used it.
Yep. And then Thursday, get some more Appy State and Coastal Carolina. And then Friday, Oregon State and Washington.
Yeah, we have Clemson, Notre Dame this week. We have
Georgia,
Tennessee. We have Bama, LSU. Could be a fun one. No, unfortunately, Notre Dame is not a member of the ACC, so that's not going to affect the division race.
Kansas State and Texas should be another good one. I about said this one, but it's not going to be. I was about to say Wake Forest and NC State, and no. But no, yeah, I think there's some very, very good games here. We're here in November. It is November now, and yeah, buckle down.
See if
boys
Oklahoma State can bounce back against Kansas. Hey, remember when we all pretended for a while that Kansas was a good football team? That was a weird time.
What's their record right now?
That was a weird time. Cincy against a service academy, poor souls. Yeah.
What's Kansas's record right now?
I don't care.
They start off like they started. I think I did say it like when they won their 5th game, and I said, "Watch, they're going to lose their final 8 games here," and they've lost
3 so far.
3 of their last 3, and yeah, there's a really good chance they may.
All right, Kyle, I think that's the end of the episode. I want to encourage everyone to join our Discord server, discord.thesloopcast.com. You can hang out with all of these hooligans that you see down here in our Discord chat, as well as us. Kyle and I are constantly in the server. They play OK State 50. What's 50-50? Hello all. Hi. So yeah, you can come join our Discord server. The Discord server is free. Yes, there are premium sections of it. Yes, the premium sections only cost $3 a month. It's only like $32 if you pay for the year up front. It's something like that. Don't specifically quote me. But it's something like that. It's $31.46, or it was. I think they may have changed how they tax stuff on Patreon, so it might have pushed it over 32. I'm not sure. But yeah, come join our Discord server. come join the Discord server. And if you enjoy the Discord server and you want a little bit more, regardless, it's cheap. Exactly, Austin. Regardless, it's cheap. So yeah, it's incredibly inexpensive. We'd love to pick up a few new patrons. And you can come live chat with us during football games and come live chat with us during podcast recordings. It's a lot of fun, y'all. That's all I'm gonna say. Kyle, do you have? By the way, we also do meetups sometimes, but we just do that within Patreon as well. So we would love to get another one of those going. So yeah, Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
I don't. I should have said. Well, there's one thing I should have said this in our Monday's episode, but I have a fun fact for everybody here. Ohio State got a pick six against Pick Six University. I mean, Penn State University.
Yes, sir.
When was the last time Ohio State got a pick six against Penn State?
Yeah, we had a long streak of doing that for a while, and then of course it dried up. I'm gonna say 2015.
2012 is the correct answer, and there was a good streak, especially starting 2001. I think it was like 8. It was like 8 of the 10 or 11 years Ohio State had a pick six. But yeah, it was 10 years since Ohio State had a pick six against Penn State.
For sure. And now Austin has moved on to trying to get Gangland a date. That's what's currently happening in the chat. So yeah, that's I guess we're also doing a golf outing. I wasn't privy to this one, but that's apparently a thing that's happening. I'm just driving the cart, you guys. I do not golf. I'll drive the cart and drink beer, and maybe in that order. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the episode. We agreed to do a scramble earlier this week, Jared. It's in Sloop. Yeah, I know. I saw it. I was just like too busy at that moment to engage in the conversation, but I saw it. Yeah, well, I'll be the beer maid. We are playing a foursome, which means you play the best. Yeah, I know what a scramble is. I know. Jared is the beer wench. I'm fine with that. I will definitely be the beer wench. I'm not dressing up though. I'm not going to dress up like a beer wench,
shit.
but I'll play the role of beer wench.
You want one more?
You will? No, I won't.
You want one more fun
Yes.
stat here? One more fun
Absolutely.
stat. Since 2012, Ohio State, when leading at any point of the game, any point by 10 or more points, Ohio State is 102-1.
For how long?
Since 2012. When they're leading by
the day
10 or more points, they are 102-1.
So in the Meyer Day era.
Yeah.
That's a great stat. 10 or more points, and they've only lost once.
What was their one loss? I apologize. In a regular season, it was 102 in the regular season.
I was about to say.
Yep.
I think that was one of the Clemson games, was it not? Was that the one that Braxton got hurt in?
It might have been, but chat is right. The answer is in 2016 to Penn State.
Oh, you're saying that stat only applies to the regular season?
Yes.
Oh, okay. He said not counting the I thought he said that the one loss came in the postseason. I misheard him.
I know. That's a fun stat. All right, that's it, Jared. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. That's it. That's the end of the episode. Tonight's ending music will once again be by a Cincinnati singer-songwriter band. Goes by the name of Lincoln. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Lincoln.